What's up, everybody? Thank you so much for being a member of our community. I'm excited to be here with you this week in my weekly series that I do here on Facebook, and excited to have you joining me. So do me a favor, whether you're watching this live, you're probably watching it on the replay since nobody's here yet. Let me know where you're watching this from. I'd love to know what area you're in, and let me know if you're watching it on the replay. I would truly appreciate it. And I'm going to jump in. This weekly episode, what I want to do is go a little bit further into the conversation we were having last week around entrepreneurial blindness. And remember, here's what entrepreneurial blindness is, just to reset perspective. As entrepreneurs, we're that small percentage of the population that get up every morning, travel into the future, create a new reality, come back to the present, and we demand it becomes real. Now, here's what entrepreneurial blindness is. And this is one of the most debilitating conditions in an entrepreneur's life. It's when we can see the future clearly. We know where we want to go. We understand the outcomes we want to create, but we don't know what to do today to get there. That can be demoralizing and frustrating and so many other things. Anxiety provoking. It can make you sick. It can make you frustrated. It can blow out your adrenals, because when we know where we want to go, but we don't know how to get there, that blindness, that being stuck in the moment is incredibly frustrating. Hey, thanks for being here. I appreciate you saying you love the podcast. That's awesome. I'm recording an episode right now, so I'm glad to have you here live. And I'm excited to jump into this topic again and to give you a little bit more information on entrepreneurial blindness and share an allegory, a parable with you. And so as we jump in, I want you to know, I'm also going to go over what we call the 3 C's: clarity, confidence, and commitment, and how they will literally change your entrepreneurial life. So before I dive in, I want you to know I've got some really cool stuff coming up. So today I'm doing the 3 C's, which is a core piece of content we coach around. Hey, Rick, thanks for being here. On the 18th, so 1 week from now on Thursday. Normally I do these on Thursdays. I'm doing this today on Wednesday because tomorrow and Friday, my wife Katie and I are taking a couples retreat, and we're going to go stay here in a hotel in Austin. We do it once a quarter. We're not great at date nights, but we're really good at couples retreats. And so I'm doing this a day earlier. And then so on the 18th, I'm going to be doing You Are Tolerating Too Much, How to Offload Where You're Uncomfortable. You want to be here for that episode. Hey, Shannon, thanks so much for being here. On the 25th, I'm going to be talking about reticular activation, how you can scientifically activate your mind to pursue success. I love shortcuts like that. That one in 2 weeks is going to be absolutely extraordinary. So I can't wait for you to check it out. And also, just remember, if you're part of our community here on Facebook, Sharfin Community Group, make sure that you are asking questions here, that you are participating here. We want you to have this community as your own, to grow this community, and we're here to help you grow and scale your business and understand how to move forward. As a company, that's what we do. We support entrepreneurs in achieving their goals and achieving their outcomes. And when I look at the entrepreneurial world today, here's what I see as one of the biggest challenges that people have. They are living in this state of entrepreneurial blindness. In fact, they're living in this state of not knowing where they want to go next, how they're going to get there. But most entrepreneurs, if you talk to them, especially in an event or at a mastermind, they will tell you exactly where they want to end up. And so this challenge that we have as entrepreneurs, where we live in the future, we create the future, we crystallize that future, we get more and more excited about it. We have to create a path so that we can go from that future down to the day-to-day and make it real. And when you have clarity, confidence, and commitment around what you're doing, you can do exactly that. And I'm going to share that with you in just a moment. I'm going to show you how to get there in just a second. But first, I want to share a parable, a story with you. Now, as with most parables and stories, we have to suspend some disbelief around this. When I was younger and I would hear a parable, I'd always argue with it. Like, how did they do that? Why couldn't they see? Why didn't they look around? Well, this is the parable of the 3 blind men. And the way the story goes is 3 blind men each approach an elephant from a different location. And from their perspective, feeling around and touching around, they each feel something completely different. One finds the elephant's tail, and thinks that he's grabbed onto some type of a cable or a cord or something like that. Another one grabs the elephant's trunk, and he is convinced that he has a hose of some sort. And another one walks right into the elephant's leg and thinks he's touching a tree trunk. Same exact object, three people experiencing different, complete perspectives. And that creates confusion. That creates frustration. If we don't have clarity in the moment of exactly where we want to go, if we don't have confidence in where we're going, if we don't have commitment in where we're going to have massive challenges. So if you listened last week, I identified entrepreneurial blindness as one of the main consistent problems entrepreneurs have. That condition of knowing where we want to go, knowing the outcome we want to achieve, having an idea of where we want to end up, but not knowing how to get there on a day-to-day basis. And the distance in between can be covered with a plan. When we plan, when we sit down and we understand exactly where we're going, everything changes in our business. I want to take you through the 3 C's that we share with our clients: clarity, confidence, and commitment. And I want to show you how each of these will help not just eliminate entrepreneurial blindness, but give you an advantage. And here's something I want you to know. And I'm going to say this up front. You've probably been blaming yourself, even shaming yourself for not doing what you should be doing, for not getting enough done, for not creating enough momentum, for procrastinating, for not doing what you know will move you forward. Well, here's something I want you to understand. If you don't have clarity, confidence, and commitment, those are the symptoms of exactly that condition. When you don't have a clear plan, you will procrastinate. When you don't know exactly where you're going, it will take you time to figure out your next steps. You will not create the momentum you are hoping for until you eliminate the condition of entrepreneurial blindness through the creation of a clear plan and a structure to get there. That is what we help entrepreneurs with. And so I just got the comment, yep, exactly me. Well, you know what? It's almost every entrepreneur. We talk to hundreds of entrepreneurs a month through social media, through the calls that we're on, through strategy sessions, through the group calls that I go and speak in other areas. And I would say less than 1% of entrepreneurs have a clear, written, strategic plan that changes everything. In fact, let me show you exactly how it changes things. Let's go to the first point, clarity. We call the 3 C's, clarity, confidence, and commitment, the key to entrepreneurial success. And here's why. When you look at clarity, when you don't have clarity as to where you're going, here's what happens. You end up frustrated and anxious and feeling like you should be taking a step, but you don't know which one it is. In fact, when I think back through some of our clients, I think of this extraordinary entrepreneur that I've had the privilege to work with. His name is Justin Dyson. He had an e-commerce business called Kids and Such. I'll tell you why he had it in just a minute. It's kind of an awesome story. When we started working with Justin, he was basically doing everything and on a day-to-day basis, figuring out what to do next. He had a couple people working with him that he was managing through transactional management, which means telling them what to do, checking that it got done, and telling them what to do again. He was frustrated and feeling kind of beat up by his business. And we helped him create a strategic plan that created massive clarity. He was able to transition from transactional management, telling people what to do, checking that it got done, and telling them what to do again, to transformational leadership, which is giving people clear outcomes in the form of a plan, coaching their success along the way, and getting exponential results. When you do this rather than this, everything in your business changes. In fact, in the time that we were working with Justin, he went from being anxious and frustrated and sometimes having a hard time deciding what to do next to having the clarity of exactly what he should do next. And he didn't just grow his business like crazy when we were working together. He actually offloaded a lot of what he was doing, got a lot of his time back, and then eventually, as we were working with him, sold his business and had a multi-million-dollar exit. When you have clarity, that is when you manifest what you want. When you have clarity, that is when you move forward with all the confidence in the world. When you have clarity, that is when you know your next steps and you are going to move forward and create the outcomes you want as an entrepreneur. Clarity is crucial. Let's talk about the next one, confidence. Now, confidence is one of the most important things for us as entrepreneurs. We put ourselves out there. We make ourselves vulnerable. We declare ourselves a commodity the day we say we are entrepreneurs. And when we don't have confidence, here's the challenge. You already know how this works in an entrepreneurial business. Everyone is counting on you. If you're the one in charge, if there's a problem, it all rolls up to you. You carry the business on your back. You feel like you're doing too much. You're throwing a bunch of things on the wall to see what sticks. But if you don't have confidence, if you don't know what you're doing next is getting you to your long-term outcome, you will execute poorly. You won't be excited about what you're doing. You'll put things together, but maybe you don't get the results you want. If you have any of these symptoms, again, This is a symptom of not having a clear strategic plan, but it's even an additional symptom of lacking the confidence to move forward as an entrepreneur with all of your energy. It's so much about energetics in entrepreneurship. If we are energetically excited about what we're doing, if we have the confidence in what we're doing, if we know our next steps, the energy we put out to the world is magnetic. We will attract the customers we want to us. We will attract the team we want to us. But if we are unclear and we lack confidence, that's the energy we put out into the world. And energy that's unclear, energy that lacks confidence is not magnetic. It's actually repulsive. It actually pushes people away. So many people ask me or tell me, I've done all the work. I've done the funnels. I did the product. I did all this stuff, but nobody's buying from me. And I often ask them, how confident are you in your plan? How confident are you in what you're doing? How confident are you in your execution? And if I get any type of a doubt or delay, that's why people aren't buying. We often as entrepreneurs try and say, this is what's going on and this is what it's causing. But oftentimes that's not how it works. Oftentimes this is what's going on and it's not a direct line to what's causing it. Procrastination, lack of progress, lack of numbers, lack of sales, lack of the business you want. A lot of people think they're not using the right tactics. Oftentimes it's something much more strategic, like a plan that gives you the clarity and the confidence. And now I'm going to move on to my third point, commitment. I actually made some notes over here because I wanted to make sure I shared exactly what I wanted to about this. See, when you see the path clearly, your level of commitment skyrockets. That's crucial. But when we move forward as entrepreneurs and we have clarity and confidence and we are committed to what we're doing, that's when we get into and stay in momentum. That's when we take the accelerator pedal and mash it to the floor. That's when we move forward like crazy and we create the outcomes that we want in the world. That's when we change the world around us. Your perspective creates your reality, so reality is yours to create. Let me say that one more time. Your perspective creates your reality, so reality is yours to create. And what that means is if your perspective is cloudy because you don't have a plan, if your perspective is unclear because you are in that space of entrepreneurial blindness, if your perspective is not crystallized as an entrepreneur, it will affect you everywhere. And when we look at commitment, if you are not committed, there are tons of symptoms. Like distraction is the lowest level of commitment. If you're distracted from something, that is the lowest level of commitment to it. And if you don't have that higher level commitment, you will stay in distraction. You will just be distracted by your goals and outcomes. At this level, you're going to be frustrated and irritated. It causes anxiety. There's a ton of noise that goes up and makes us feel tactical pressure in the moment. Do you know what I'm talking about? When we don't know where we're going, when we're unclear, that noise that goes up makes us feel stuck. It makes us feel constrained. It makes us feel like we can't move forward. It gives us that frustrating feeling of standing in space and not creating anything. Now, on the contrast, when we create a plan, we have clarity, confidence, and then that third big one, commitment. When we have that commitment, we start transmitting that energy to everybody around us. When we have commitment, we start changing the world around us. Oh man, I have such an incredible story of commitment in the past year. 2020 obviously was not the year any of us expected. In March, we shut down for a global pandemic, and I had several members in my coaching programs that literally were shut down. One of them was named Laurie Noga, who is one of the most extraordinary entrepreneurs I've ever been able to work with. By trade, she's a dentist. In reality, she is an incredible off-the-charts visionary. I guess you can combine those two. So she's an off-the-charts visionary dentist who is changing dental practices and has 3 practices out in Washington. When the coronavirus hit, her entire business was shut down. Clarity, confidence, commitment were out the window. It was done. What are you going to do? Well, Laurie didn't allow herself to get distracted. She didn't allow herself to get sucked up into that vortex of energy that is just not going in the right direction. She actually was looking at options, understanding what to do next, and then started planning for when she was going to be able to open again. Not only did she open all 3 of her dental practices, but within weeks, she was over 100% of the booking that she had before. Why? She created a clear strategic plan. She communicated with her team. She got ready for business to be back open. As soon as it was, she already had everything in place. Her team came back in, her customers came, or her patients came back. They started getting the dental services that they need that had been delayed. and her business expanded and grew in the middle of an international pandemic. Now, I want you to know that's not how it always is. There's actually some contrast here I can give you. At the same time I was talking to Laurie, who's in our membership, I was talking to somebody else that I've known for years, not in our membership, just someone that I know. We're friends online and we've been to several events together. Interesting though, he also owned 3 practices, not dental practices, functional medicine practices. And at the same time that Laurie's practices were blowing up, I asked him, how was he doing? And his answer was the absolute opposite. He said, Alex, you just got to understand with this pandemic, nobody's coming back. Our business is down about 30% to 60%, depending on the location. We might have to close one of them. And I said, well, what's your plan to fix it? He said, we're waiting to see what the government does. And I remember thinking, what incredible contrast. Here's one entrepreneur with 3 practices who did not allow distraction, created a plan, was waiting for the day she could open the doors back up, and then executed like crazy. Here's another entrepreneur who's waiting for someone to tell him what to do and might lose one of his practices, maybe even more. When you lack clarity, confidence, and then the big one, commitment, you will end up in this situation much more often than you're in the situation where there's growth. And when you have clarity, confidence, and commitment, you can overcome just about anything, including an international pandemic that shuts everybody down so you can come back even stronger and go out and make a bigger impact and create more momentum for everyone. And so the 3 C's, clarity, confidence, and commitment, are here to help you see the difference between why some entrepreneurs struggle and some always seem to get ahead, win, and go out and make an impact. As entrepreneurs, what we want to do is help people. We want to make an impact. We want to change the world around us. And we owe it to ourselves to create the clarity, confidence, and commitment that allow us to do that. And the way that you do this is through creating a strategic plan that you and your team can execute, that's easy to understand and impossible to misunderstand, and has everyone going in exactly the right direction. So I want to thank you for being here with me today. And if you're interested in getting more information about what we do and how we help entrepreneurs create a strategic plan and create massive momentum in the world, here it is. Sharfin.com, go to /build momentum. Check out what my team's put together for you. Thank you for being here with me. And do me a favor. If you know an entrepreneur that needs to hear this message, tag them for me. And if you know an entrepreneur who should be in our Facebook group, please invite them to the group so that we can help them and build our community. I appreciate you being here. Thanks for being here for my Thursday broadcast that happened on Wednesday. And next week, I'll see you on Thursday, right at around 5 o'clock Central Standard Time. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate you being here, and we'll see you next week.